Your hypothetical scenario seems more likely under the present system. If the voters of a ward want, well, no, I'm sorry, that was a response to Rudy. What if your choice doesn't win and a crackpot does? Referring to a candidate running for city council. I don't believe a mayor should talk about his constituents like that. I think they should have a right to choose and elect who they want to choose. I think it's unfair to categorize any potential candidate, whether they win or lose, as a crackpot. What does that say about the people that elected them? Are they crackpots as well? I guess I will leave it at that. Again, I don't think my language has been inflammatory. I haven't used scorched earth, radical, sinister, crackpot. That's coming from their side. I got an email today, or yesterday actually, from Franklin Lawson, where Rudy talks about the untruths, the mud, basically lies that have been spread. Again, my presentation and anybody that I've talked to about this referendum, anybody that's talking about the petition, has been based on the historical record as it is. I haven't used any inflammatory language. I haven't used any untruths. Point of view, we can have different points of view. Doesn't make yours a lie and yours any more valid than anybody else's. So I'll leave it at that and take the questions later, right?
Right.
Right.
I'll refer back to this chart. Mr. Brannick started with the comment, you still would have the right to vote for all six. That's what he said. I don't know what he meant, but that's what he said, his first sentence. You would have the right to vote for one. Secondly, it is a right. It's written into the city charter. It's a basic right we have in Hickory to vote for all six. Yeah, I used the word crackpots. I had a friend write and said he'd rather have one person representing him. And I said, well, what if it's a crackpot and they don't represent you? Then you don't have anybody. Then somebody else writes in, what's a crackpot? I said, a crackpot is a crackpot. I don't know. Okay? I had somebody say knuckleheads. Has this country ever elected any crackpots and knuckleheads? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm just saying, come on. Somebody might get elected that you don't like, you don't feel comfortable talking to, you have no rapport with, and then you don't have the other five to talk to. Now, you might be able to prevail on their good-naturedness, okay? I'm not going to, this thing about, we got these phrases like, we have said some awful things about people. That's not true. If crackpot is an awful thing to say about some mythical person, I'm guilty. I've used it many times in my life because I happen to think there may be a crackpot in Hickory somewhere. I haven't run into him or her. I never have. However, to say that there's no untruths, and all you have to look at is their sign that says $1 million tent. The cost of that tent is approximately $501,000. They can argue all they want to, but why put on their $1 million tents and inflame people? $1 million. Who in here rounds 501,000 to $1 million? I don't. 501,000 is 501,000. And I don't call anybody in Hickory elite. They're voters, they're non-voters. I don't call anybody elite and post the signs all of these places and inflame people. Remember, this is the key thing you need to remember. You have 6 votes for 6 council members who are accountable to you. And you're giving it up to have one. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. We do have time for question and answers or questions to either party, either gentleman.
I have a question. Could this trickle down or trickle up to like the county commissioners and say, okay, we have to vote on a county commissioner in this end of the county, this end of the county, this end of the county? Could that be coming next?
Well,
if this passes.
Well, the same logic
would apply.
The same logic would apply. Now, I don't know what are their 100,000 county voters, registered voters. They'd have to get a lot more signatures.
I mean, we couldn't have two people from Conover or two people from
Same
Newton
district.
in the same section running for county commissioner. If this passes, could that trickle down for that?
What I said was, don't think this is just about Hickory. If it works in Hickory, we are going to see speculation, perhaps petitions started, to extend this to other places where the representation is not what certain people desire.
In Buncombe County, for instance, a state representative, Tom Moffitt,
Yeah.
Republican state representative in Buncombe County. I don't know how he did it, I haven't researched it, but somehow the Buncombe County has been forced to go to a ward system in electing county commissioners. It was a Republican-led initiative. Candidates that are running for county commissioner in Buncombe County has shot up. And it's just this is the first year that they're doing that. I will say this though. In Catawba County, or let's go to the state level. In Catawba County, we have two state representatives, Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Helton, soon to be Mr. Wells. I live in Hickory. I like Mitchell Setzer. I can't vote for him. He lives in his ward. But he represents Catawba County. He can't, people down in Ms. Beatty's way, they can't vote for Andy Wells. But he's going to represent Catawba County, and he'll do it well. You know, one thing Hank said to me is, I need to be elected by the city at large because I represent the city at large. I represent the whole city. Yes, you do. When you go to Washington on a Chamber of Commerce event, or when you go to Raleigh to lobby state representatives, you represent him, and that's fine, and you can do it, and you can do it well. When you're in the chambers, on your bi-weekly, monthly meetings, you can represent the ward. And as elected officials, it's a balancing act. When do you represent your ward? When do you represent your district? When do you represent the city or the county as a whole? I think elected officials have traditionally risen to the occasion and performed well, wearing both hats. So, does it come to Catawba County? I don't know.
It'll be brought up though.
I have a question. There are 100 counties in the state. Are we the only county that has this style of representation? How are the other cities? Not the
Cities.
Cities, not the counties, but.
Well, there's 540.
545 municipalities.
Okay.
Now, 85% have the system we have, except not as good. We are the only one. Well, and then you have in our peer group, 85% of the cities, towns, and cities have at-large voting. It can't be all that bad. We're the only one in our peer group, which is 30,000 to 50,000. There are 12. 8 of those are at-large, like we have. We're the only one that says you must be nominated by your neighborhood and elected at-large. The others are just purely at-large. San Antonio, I think, has 20 Austin, the most liberal city in the South. They have 20 council members and they can be neighbors, just lined up right down the road because they're all at large. So, this argument that we need to do this the same way we elect congressmen. A congressman represents 670,000 people. Our Hickory City Council members represent the 6,700 in their ward and the 41,000 at large. An awful lot of people in Hickory know more than one council member that they can call. The numbers don't work out. It ain't the same.
Of those 85% that Hickory's included in, is 545. 440 of them are cities or towns, I guess, of less than 5,000 people. They have at-large elections. There's only 5,000 of them.
Yeah, but in our peer group,
In our peer group.
8 of 12 have at-large. We're the only one that has the superior method, which is you're nominated from your neighborhood and elected at large. It's the best method.
Joan,
Mr. Wright, is this your
I'm a very simple person, okay, and I don't understand that bottom, how this is laid out, what it means. Is this yours?
It is.
Okay.
What I'm showing now, this Ward 1 voter is connected to the Ward 1 council member, is connected to Ward 2, Ward 3, the mayor, 4, 5, 6, because they vote for all of them. Here, there's no connectivity except with Ward 1. Now, they can prevail on the good-naturedness of other council members to try to help them with the problem. But it could very easily be that you don't have any connection with that Ward 1 council member because you don't get along. And then you've got to go somewhere else and say, I can't vote for you, but will you help me?
But is it not the ward, like Ward 1, his to stay connected to the people in his ward and take their concerns before the city council, and they vote together on whether it's good for the whole city? Is that not how it works normally? I kind of see it upside down, you know, because the ward, here you're showing only one, but really each one actually does have a say.
But we don't have, this voter doesn't have any connectivity to them except their good-naturedness.
To the other
To
ward.
the other wards.
Except through their captain or their ward.
Right.
Right. The person they elect. And if they don't like the way they work, they just vote somebody else in, right, in the next election.
Well, and you know, the comments made, well, $2,000 is too much to spend to win an election. I think most all of that was contributed by people who wanted to see Hank win. Okay? Hank certainly has not suffered any hardship because he ran for council.
About 80%
You could
of
easily-
that was funded by Hank.
Oh, it was? Okay. Well, Hank,
He wanted to win.
Hank's felt no hardship, okay? And you could end up with a situation where it really gets nasty when you get a group of outsiders, another people in another ward, that says, I want somebody other than that person that's in that ward. We're going to raise a lot of money. We're going to get them out.
Could it not
That
happen
gets kind
both
of
ways?
nasty.
Could it not happen in both instances, though?
Well, it could, but it doesn't have. It hasn't happened in the history that I've seen.
Okay.
And again, it's not because we're cronies. Yes, sir.
I'm a neighbor of Hank's out on Harris Farm Road, and when we saw the sign go out there, we thought maybe Hickory had done that long away to Mountain View annexation. Our taxes are about to double, so that's my check map. I just had one comment and one question. The comment first is that when you talk about voter turnout, to me, when you start doing what I call kneecapping politics, it really suppresses voter turnout. People don't want to mess with the ugliness of politics when it gets that way. And I would hope that if this has gotten ugly, that it'll settle out and everybody will be all right. I like both you guys.